want to talk to you about a topic called self-awareness. And what that is, that's the conscious knowledge of one's feelings, motives, or desires. So when it comes to self-awareness, first of all, I want to talk about feelings. You know, a lot of people are not aware of their feelings and how they feel about certain things. And you should always be aware of your feelings and not allow someone to let you get in your feelings in a particular situation. Like, say for instance, if you're in a relationship with somebody and that particular person is not doing you right, and you know that particular person is not doing you right, then you should not allow your feelings that you have for that person to disrespect you and damage your character as to who you are, because nobody has to allow nobody to damage their character based upon how they feel about somebody. Because if somebody is good for you, then you should feel good to them and about them. But if somebody is bad for you, no matter how bad, no matter how much you love that person, or you have deep feelings for that person, you have to realize that at some point in time that you need to know when it's time to say, hey, I've had enough. I'm tired of being disrespected by this particular person, and I got to get out of my feelings. And it's another thing when it comes to feelings. A lot of times when you're trying to accomplish something, you cannot get in your feelings. Say for instance, you're trying to accomplish growing a home-based business, and you cannot get in your feelings and allow your feelings of the way people act and the things that people say about you discourage your journey on accomplishing you building your business. You know, because a lot of times people allow what people say, and they get in their feelings and they get real emotional, and it causes them to not achieve what they set out to achieve. You know, like I'll give you an example. Say for instance, you know, me being in the network marketing industry, and a lot of times when I make phone calls and I call people and I tell them about the products and services, free products and services that I have to offer to them. And then, you know, a lot of times, you know, they say, well, you know, this sounds great, but you know, I'm just really not interested. You know, I understand, or I don't believe this true. I believe this is a scam. I don't see how you able to do that. But see, the thing is, I don't allow what they're saying to get me in my feelings and get me emotional to where I don't pick up the phone and call the next person, or I have doubts in myself that I cannot achieve what I'm setting out to achieve. And that's the way you got to be in your daily lifestyle and your walk of lifestyle. You cannot allow a person to get you in your feelings, because once they get you in your feelings, they knock you off of your character as to who you are. And then you cannot move on to the next level in life allowing someone to get into your feelings. You just can't allow that. You have to be strong and be steadfast and be unmovable. No matter what the situation is that you're going through, the worst thing you could do is allow yourself to get in your feelings, or allow someone else to let you get in your feelings about any situation. You can never be too emotional and get in your feelings about any situation. Just like, say, for instance, if you're working on a 9 to 5 and a particular person comes up to you and they just say bad things about you, you know, just right off the bat, they don't even know you. They judge you before they even knew you, but they just saying bad things about you. So you cannot allow their opinion of you get you in your feelings. And that's where your self-awareness comes in. You have to be aware of what's going on around you. And when people come to you with certain things that could possibly get you into your feelings, you know, then you cannot allow that, because once you let them get into your feelings, they damage your character. And then now you have all these different things going on in your life. And now you have a lot of self-doubt about yourself. And because you was not aware of what the person was trying to do to you when they came to you in the way that they did, and you allowed them to get into your feelings. And now you're in your feelings, and now you're all emotional, and you don't know which way to go, and you don't know what to do, because now you feel like you're trapped. You feel like you're wondering, well, why is this person talking about me? Why is this person saying so many bad things about me, and they don't even really know me? But me, myself, personally, I don't allow people to get me in my feelings, because I feel like this: if you don't know me and you don't know my story, then you have no right to judge me. And that's the way you need to feel yourself. If someone doesn't know you and they don't know your character and they don't know who you are and they don't know your story, they have no right to judge you. So you cannot let them pass judgment upon you based upon what they say or how they talk about you or what they say about you. And you cannot allow them to allow you to get you in your feelings. And then another thing I want to talk about is within self-awareness is motives. You know, a lot of people you have to watch. You'll have a person that smiles in your face all the time, but then as soon as you turn your back, they talk about you. So people like that, you don't need them in your life, because they have some type of motive to destroy you in some kind of way. So that's why you got to be aware of the people that you surround yourself with, and that's where your self-awareness comes in. And when you communicate with people, you can pretty much tell what their motive is. You can pretty much pick out, because I can sit down with somebody and I can talk to them, and after I have talked to them for 5 minutes, I know exactly what their motive is. You know, say for instance, I'm sitting down with a potential ambassador, and I'm sitting down with this person, and I'm telling them my story and this and that. And then once I've told them my story and I started to ask them, you know, questions about themselves before I even get into showing them the deal of what I want to present to them, I pretty much know before I show them the deal if they have a motive to do what I'm about to show them or not. So now I know which angle to go at, you know, when I'm talking to this prospect, because I know their motive. And that's the same thing that you should know in life. When you're conversating with people, know their motive, because you know that was the thing that said, you know, the old song, backstabbers. All the time they want to take your place from backstabbers, and backstabbers are people that they smile in your face and they talk behind your back. But people like that, you know their motive, because if you find somebody, I'm gonna tell you somebody that has a motive that to do nothing but cause trouble. If you find somebody and they come up to you and they're talking about somebody else, you can bet your bottom dollar as soon as you leave, they're gonna talk about you to somebody else. But you have to be able to know people's motive and know what their agenda is in life and what they're trying to do. And you know if they have good motives or bad motives, good intentions or bad intentions. And that's where your self-awareness comes in. You have to be able to detect that within people. And the only way you can detect that within people is the number one thing is watch their character and the way they carry themselves. Because the way they carry themselves pretty much tells you who they are, pretty much tells you their motive of whatever they're going to try to do, if it's going to be good or bad to you. But you just have to be aware to use your self-awareness to be able to pick up those signs. See, like I said, me, myself, personally, I have been in the industry long enough and dealt with enough people to where as soon as I sit down with you, I pretty much know your motive after the first few conversations, few questions I ask you. And then when I get into showing you the deal of what I have and what I'm trying to bring to you, I pretty much know if your mind is going to be open like a parachute, judged upon the questionnaires that I have asked you before. So always, when you're trying to find out somebody's motive, ask questions about them. If you ask them questions about their self, you'll pretty much find out their self motive, because that allows you to be able to determine their self-awareness and where they are. And now you know how to determine your self-awareness when you're around that person. You know how to carry yourself. You know how to be around that person. You know what to say around that person. Because a lot of times you have to look at it like this. A lot of times people will pretend to be your friend, but then just as soon as you tell them something that you don't want nobody else to know, they'll go tell somebody else. So you got to look at this. You know, a friend is just someone that has more ammunition than someone that's not your friend. Because if you look at it, if you got a friend and you think you got a true friend, you always confide in them a lot of things that you wouldn't confide in other people. But this is how you find out if you got a true friend or not. Tell them something that you don't want nobody else to know, and see how long they keep it, or see how long it takes for it to come back to you. If it comes back to you within 15 minutes of the point in time that you told it to them, and it's done came back to you from 10 people, then you already know their motive. They're not your friend. They're just trying to see whatever they can get out of you, whatever they can get out of you to where they can use it against you. And that's not a friend. That's a foe. That's someone that smiles in your face and talks behind your back. So that's where your self-awareness comes in, because you have to know everybody's motive and what they're set out. And you also have to know your motive in life as well, because in order for you to know your motive in life, that determines your character and where you want to go in life. So say, for instance, your motive in life is to live a lifestyle of fun, freedom, and fulfillment. In order for you to live out that motive in life, you gotta hang around people that have that lifestyle. Hang around positive people. Stay away from negative people. Otherwise, your motive is not going to be fulfilled out. But like I said, you can pretty much determine whatever someone's motive is just by their character. Because if you look at the way a person carries themselves, that pretty much defines who they are. If you have a person that carries themselves all the time, they're always looking to find something to say that is bad about somebody, you automatically know that that's not the person that you want in your circle if your mission is to keep a positive mindset. Because they have a negative mindset, because all they can do is talk about somebody. That is their motive, to find something to talk about. And when you find people like that, if you're trying to lead a positive lifestyle, you cannot allow them in your circle, because all they're going to do is diminish you from being able to get to the next level, because they're going to be always talking about somebody else. And then if you're sitting around listening, sooner or later, you're going to become that person because you hanging around them. My mom used to always tell me, when I was growing up, she said, son, if you want to be successful, hang around successful people. If you want to be unsuccessful, hang around unsuccessful people. But in order for you to know their motive, if they want to be successful or unsuccessful, then you gotta first look at their character. And how you determine a person's character is determined by the way they carry themselves. If they carry themselves with pride and dignity, you pretty much know that that person is out for the right thing. They want to be successful just like you. But on the other hand, if they carry themselves within a way to where, they never have nothing good to say about nobody, they're always talking about somebody, they're always talking negative about themselves, they're always saying negative things about themselves, then their desires, their motive is to be a person that goes around and talk about somebody and keep up trouble. And you don't need those people in your circle if you're trying to get to the next level in life. Say for instance, you're working a 9 to 5 and you work by a person every day, and all this person talk about is what everybody else is doing in the industry where you're working. They talk about everybody else. They talk about everything they know about everybody else's lifestyle, but they never talk about their own lifestyle. And when they're talking about everybody else's lifestyle, they always have something negative to say about each person. Their motive is to cause trouble. And people like that, you don't need to be around. You need to be around people that's going to be encouraging you to do better in life, because you don't want to stay where you are in life today. You want to rise above where you are. And the only way you can rise above where you are is to hang around people that want the same thing that you want, and people that's going to give you positive feedback and not negative feedback, and people that's going to encourage you and not put you down. But like I said, that's where your self-awareness comes in, and that's where you be able to judge a person's character, is by knowing their motive. And like I said, you'll know their motive as soon as you sit down to talk with them, or as soon as you associate with them, you'll know their motive. And if you don't know their motive, then just stick around and pay attention to their actions and what they do. And then that'll determine their character as to if there's someone that's trying to help you or hinder you. And the people that are not trying to help you move forward, you don't need them in your life. I don't care who they are. It could be your best friend, it could be your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, whatever it is. If you're trying to go to the next level in life and they're holding you back, then their motive is in some kind of way, they're jealous of you and they don't want you to go to the next level, because they feel like once you go to the next level, you no longer need them. So now they're going to do everything that they can in their power to keep you from getting there. And by saying negative things and telling you that you cannot reach there. But I'm telling you right now, if you want something in life bad enough, go for it. And once you go for it, don't allow nobody to tell you that it will not work. Become that action taker, that decision maker, and do it. You know, just like Michael Jordan said with Nike, just do it. You know, you don't have to worry about what people are going to say, because I tell you, I say this all the time. People are a trip, so people's going to talk about you no matter what you do. If you're doing something good, people are going to talk about you. And if you're doing something bad, people are going to talk about you more. So you just got to know the person's motive when you're around them. And it only comes with knowing their number one, their character. And their character determines how they carry themselves. Like I said, if they carry themselves in a way to where they're respectful to others, then that's a person that you want in your circle, you know, because a respectful person can turn into a great person and can, you know, be a real positive person with a real positive mindset, and can help you along a journey when you're trying to achieve something, because they will give you encouragement instead of telling you it won't work. You know, like I say this all the time. Don't never let someone tell you what will and will not work if they've never tried it. And don't never buy someone's opinion because you buy their lifestyle. Think about this. Before you buy someone's opinion, look at their lifestyle. And if their lifestyle is no better than yours, then you shouldn't buy their opinion, because you're trying to improve your lifestyle. So you cannot buy their opinion, because now you're going to believe what they're saying, and now you're going to fall back where they are in their lifestyle. So you don't want to do that. If you're trying to move ahead and move forward in life, no matter what you're doing, know people's motives, know where people's headed, know what people's intentions are, and know if it's good or bad. And if a person has bad intentions, you don't need them people in your life, because they're not going to build you up. They're only going to tear you down. Now, if a person has good intentions, then those are the people you want to surround yourself around. But one thing about it, I can tell you this right now. If you have a small circle of a few people in your circle, and all those people has a positive mindset, and all those people is striving to a different step, to a different level in life, and trying to create something better in their life than what they have going on right now, those are the people you need to stay around. Now, if you have 100 people in your circle and all those people in your circle is always talking about negativity, always talking about the next person, always trying to pull the next person down, always talking behind the next person back, cut that whole circle out and go find you a new circle. You know, because it's not about the amount of friends you have, it's about the amount of true friends that you have. Did you hear me? I said it's not about the amount of friends that you have, it's about the amount of true friends that you have. And if the only true friend that you have is your wife and that's your best friend, then that's all you need. But always know what a person's motive is before you allow them to come into your life and you start to discuss things with them that's going on in your life, because you never know how they may use that against you in the long run. So basically what I'm saying, just be careful who you confide important stuff into, and just be careful who you trust, because everybody's not trustworthy. You know, they could paint a picture of being the best that they could be, and paint a picture of being as trustworthy as they possibly can, just for a little bit, you know, just to get into you, just to get you to open up to them. But you have to be, and that's where your self-awareness comes in. You have to be able to see through people, you know, when they don't have good intentions for you. And the only way you do that is being able to judge a person by the way they carry themselves and their character and the respect that they have for others. Because I can tell you right now, a person that doesn't have respect for another person is not going to respect you. But that's where your self-awareness comes in. You have to be able to determine that. And then another thing that you have to be able to look at is desires. You know, you got to know what your desires are in life, and you got to be aware of what your desires are in life and what you want, because your desires are what you want, you know, and I'm not saying that your desires of what you want cannot be achieved, but you have to know what you want and what your desires are and where you want to go in life, and then make a decision, you know, make a decision to head that away. Say, for instance, if you're working a 9-to-5 and the 9-to-5 is really not giving you what you really want, then make a decision and have a desire to invest in yourself, to create a second strand of income on top of what you're previously doing, and just see how it works out. And then once you see how it works out, and if it's working out, grasp a desire to accomplish that. And once you're grasping your desire to accomplish that, you will accomplish it. And then you also got to watch your desires, but you also got to watch other people's desires too, because other people will fool you. You know, they can seem like they got good desires, good intentions for you, but then deep down, they're jealous of you, and they've been jealous of you all your life. But this has been a person that has been close to you all your life, but you was not watching the way they carry themselves, and you didn't know what their intentions was, and you didn't know what their motives was, and you was not aware of it. And now all of a sudden it comes back to bite you, because now they have enough ammo on you to destroy you. So you should never give nobody too much ammo, because once you give somebody too much ammo, now they can destroy you in some type of way, or they can damage your character in some type of way. They can say something that's going to damage your credibility towards you building what you need to build. You know, they might say something, you know, because of something that you said to them. And you might have said it to them out of confidence and didn't really mean nothing by it, but they seen that as a way to, instead of build you up, tear you down. So that's why I say you got to be aware. Your self-awareness is very important when it comes to dealing with people, because you never know what a person's motive is. You never know what a person is feeling, and you never know a person's desires. So you got to know yours. You got to know your feelings. You got to know your motives, and you got to know your desires. If you know your feelings and you know your motives and you know your desires, now you know your self-awareness, because that's where your self-awareness comes in, within knowing. And then also you got to know other people's feelings, you got to know other people's motives, and you got to know other people's desires, and you got to be able to read through them. You got to know if they have good intentions or bad intentions. That's what brings your self-awareness to the light, because you cannot have self-awareness if you allow somebody to be next to you that that's no good for you. And what I mean by that is that, why would you keep dealing with somebody that's doing you wrong? Why would you keep dealing with somebody that's not taking you to the next level in life, that's not doing nothing for you in your life to benefit you? No matter how much you love that person, sometimes, there was a saying that said, if you love someone, set them free. If they're yours, they will come back to you. If they don't, they never was. And that's the true saying. Because a lot of times you can be bound in your feelings by love for a person, and that person could be toxic for you. And you could be done deal with that person for, let's just say year after year after year, and you keep running back. But this person is toxic for you. But you love this person and you can't get over it. But I can tell you right now, if it's real love, it'll eventually show up. And what I mean by that, you will start to see the difference in that person. If they really love you and they really want to be with you, they will meet the desires that you have. They will make sure that they prove to you that they are the person for you. But if they keep doing the same thing, why are you still there? That's my question to you. No matter how much you love someone, if they're toxic for you, it's time to let them go, because that means you're not going to get nowhere in life if you continue to be with them, because you done seen it. You done proved it to yourself. You done been with this person year after year, and every year nothing changes. Everything stays the same, or things might get good for a little bit and then everything goes back to the way they were. That is God's way of telling you that that person is not for you. And sometimes, we have to listen to God. When God speaks to us, we have to listen to him, no matter how much it doesn't make sense what he's trying to tell us. Because a lot of times, me, when I'm in my prayer room and I'm having a prayer with God and God reveals something to me and he tells me something, it seems odd. But guess what? I believe in God and I trust God, and God is the head of my life and number one in my life. And I'm thankful to God for where I am today, because if it had not been for the Lord, I don't know, on my side, I don't know where I would have been. So that's why when God speaks to me and tells me something about a particular person or something like that, no matter how much I don't want to believe it, I believe it. And then when I believe it, God shows it to me. So just look at the signs, because God shows you a sign. When somebody's no good for you, God sends you a sign, but sometimes you may be too much, in love with that person to where you don't even see the sign. Or you may see the sign and that person is no good for you, but you love them so much, you just say, well, I'm going to give them another chance. Well, if you've been giving them a chance for 10, 15 years and they ain't changed, the chances are they're not going to. That's just the bottom line. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm just telling you straight up. But that's where your self-awareness comes in, is being aware of your surroundings, the people that surround you, knowing people's feelings, knowing people's motives and people's desires. Because once you're able to have knowledge of that, then now nobody can pull the wool over your eyes. Nobody can set up here and paint a good picture like they're somebody that they're not, because you see right through them. Like I said, when I sit down with my potential ambassadors and I'm trying to grow my team and sign somebody up, I look at the way they carry themselves, from the way that they step into the meeting, the way they come into the meeting, the way they greet themselves, the way I greet myself, the respect and honor that they have for themselves. And then once I start to ask them different questions about their life and where they are in life and you know, and what would they like to accomplish in life and all those things, I ask all those questions before I even show them what I have. Because guess what? That gives me an idea of how to go about talking to that person. And then 9 times out of 10, if that person wants to change their life and create a second strand of income, before we leave the meeting, they sign up. But that's only because I use my self-awareness of knowing where people are and being able to judge people by their character and the way they carry themselves. So just think about that long and hard. If you're going out to work today, you know your self-awareness. You know, watch the people around you. You know their feelings. You know, don't try to hurt nobody's feelings intentionally, and don't allow nobody else to hurt your feelings intentionally. Know people's motive and know people's desires. And if you have knowledge of that, now you have knowledge of your self-awareness, because that's what your self-awareness is revolved around, those 3 particular things in knowing. And if you know that, then now you know your self-awareness, and then you know how to be aware of your surroundings, of people that surround you. And now you know how to stay around the people that's gonna build you up and not tear you down. You automatically know when someone comes into your life by their character and the way they carry themselves, if they're there for the good or the bad. You automatically know it. But you would only automatically know it if you have self-awareness and you're able to determine it with your self-awareness. Because self-awareness is very important. It's very important in everything you do in life. Because if you're not aware of what's going on around you, how can you do what you need to do? If you're not aware of who's in your corner and who's not in your corner, how can you get where you want to be? You know, you got to know where your haters are. And you got to keep your haters close, because see, when you keep your haters close, they're going to tell you who they really are. You know, they may not actually tell you point blank that they're a hater, but you can determine that they're a hater, and you can determine a friend or a foe just by having self-awareness within yourself and being able to judge people by the way they carry themselves. And then that will tell you what type of character that they have within themselves. And then that will let you know if you want to be a part of them or if you want them to be a part of what you're doing. Because if you look at it, me, myself personally, when I'm building my business, I look for certain people. You know, I look for people that is ready to do something, that is sick and tired of doing what they're doing, and they're ready to change their life. I look for people that have a positive mindset. I look for people that has consistency about themselves. I look for people that is willing to get uncomfortable. But how do I know who those people are? Through my self-awareness. My self-awareness tells me right off the bat if I'm on the phone talking to them, or if I'm on a Zoom live talking to them, or if I'm in person talking to them. My self-awareness tells me right off the bat about their character within the way that they carry themselves. When I first get on the phone with them, you know, say for instance, I'm talking and somebody says, well, hey, Greg, I want to set up a meeting with you at 10 o'clock Monday morning. I say, okay, let me check my schedule, see if I'm available. Okay, I may not have 10, but hey, this is what I have available. Now, the first thing within that person, if they say 10 o'clock and I tell them I don't have 10 o'clock available, and then they say, well, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this because 10 o'clock is the only time that I can be available. Now look at this. If that person really wanted to know about what I was doing and what I have to offer, they would find some time within the time in between 10 o'clock or whatever the time that I say that I'm available to put some things around in their schedule to be able to be available at that point in time to talk to me if they're serious. But if they're not serious, they'll make excuses and say, well, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be available that time. You know, this is the only time I have available and I don't have no more time available. People like that don't want to do nothing. I'm just going to be honest with you. If they make an excuse, as soon as you give them something like a time to meet, or they give you a time and you cannot do it at that time, and they say, well, I don't think I'm going to be available at such and such. This is the only time that I have available. Those are people that want you to cater to them. And the bottom line is, I'm not in the catering business. I'm in the helping business. But I can only help you if you want to help yourself. If you don't want to help yourself, I cannot help you. But if you really want to help yourself, and I tell you I'm not available at 10 o'clock and I have 11 o'clock available, then you know what you're going to do. If somebody's really serious and I said, well, you know, I'm not available at 10 o'clock, but I have 11 o'clock. Oh, okay, Greg, you know what? Let me go see, you know, what I got going on at 11 o'clock, and then possibly, you know, let me call you back. If that person is serious and really want to know about what I have to offer, they're going to call me back and they're going to find a way to get on that phone with me at 11 o'clock and do that meeting. But if that person is not serious, they're going to make excuses. So that's the reason why, you know, like I say, what I do is not for everybody. And I don't want it to be for everybody. I want it to be for the people that want it to be for them. And the people that want it to be for them is going to do it. And that's where your self-awareness comes in. And that's something you need to think about, you know, when you're out there in the world and you're dealing with people. You need to think about that, not only from a business standpoint. I just gave you that example so you could kind of see, you know, where your self-awareness lies and how you should be able to determine your self-awareness when it comes to another individual. Because if a person wants to do something, they're not going to make an excuse as to why they can't. Just the bottom line. They're going to find a way to do it. You know, like me, when I invested in the network marketing industry, I knew that that was something that I wanted to do because I wanted a different lifestyle for me and my family. So I didn't make no excuse when I got the call, you know, from a great pastor friend of mine that I was in the prison ministry with at the time. I didn't make no excuse and tell him, well, hey, man, I can't make it. But did I have other things to do that day? Yes, I did. But I looked at this as being important and a life-changing experience. So if you want to get to the next level in life, when someone offers you a chance to do that, have an open mindset and find a way to see what they're talking about, because you never know what lifestyle it could lead you to. But if you're negative and got a negative mindset and you feel like it's not going to work, then it's not going to work. Whatever the mind can conceive, it will achieve. That's the bottom line. If you can conceive wealth in your mind, you will be wealthy. If you can conceive success in your mind, you will be successful. If you can conceive self-awareness in your mind, you will be aware of the people and you will know your own self-awareness, because you can conceive it, you'll achieve it. Bottom line. So that's just the thing that, you know, I want to come on here and talk to you about self-awareness, because I feel like that's something that people don't talk about a lot. And I just want you to know that I'm here to help you. These morning inspirations that I come in every morning and I give to you, you know, I give it to you to help you. But within the same sense, in the same breath, while I'm giving it to you, I'm giving it to myself to keep myself built up and to keep myself positive and to keep my mindset on a positive note each and every day. So basically, I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to myself at the same time, because it keeps me on a level to where I have respect, I have pride, I have dignity within myself. So, like I said, I just wanted to bring that to you. But just remember, when it comes to your self-awareness, your feelings, motives, and desires, And if you're able to determine those three things within yourself and within other people, you'll be aware of everything that's around you. You have a knack for self-awareness around you because you will know where people stand just by the way they carry themselves. You will know where people's feelings are. You will know what people's motives are, and you'll know what people's desires are. And those are the most important things that revolves around self-awareness. Once you get that knowledge of those three things, now you can take control over self-awareness, and nobody can do what the old folks say, pull the wool over your eyes. Because you're aware. Because a lot of people will talk a lot, but they're not saying nothing. You know, they're saying things, but the things that they're saying, you have to think about this. And I'm going to say this one thing and then I'm going to close it out. But you have to think about this. From day one, when you communicate with a person, the number one thing that you watch about that person is how they carry themselves. When you're talking to that person and you're talking business to that person and you're right across for them, look at their posture. Look and see if their eyesight is engaging in your eyesight. Look and see if you have their full attention. If you have their full attention, then 9 times out of 10, what you're talking about, they're interested in. But if you don't have their full attention and you're talking to them and they're doing everything else and they're not paying attention to what you're saying, it's a waste of time. And me, myself, my time is too precious to waste time on somebody that's not trying to take their life to the next level, that's not trying to provide a better lifestyle for them and their family. And that's the reason why I do my morning inspirations, because I want you to know that your time is too precious for you to be wasting your time on people that's not going to help you. People that's not going to help you, you don't need them in your circle. You need to get rid of them, no matter how much you care about them, no matter where they stand in your life, no matter where they have been in your life for how many years. It doesn't matter. If they're no good for you, let them go. And that's the bottom line. But like I said, you know, once again, my name is Greg Young, coming to you live with this morning inspiration from Davenport, Florida. And I just want to thank each and every one of you all for tuning in this morning. And I just want to say this to you. If you're going out to work, to your job, think about your self-awareness while you're on that job. Watch people and watch the way people carry themselves, and you will know who's in your corner and who's not in your corner. And then I just want to say this to all the entrepreneurs out there. If you're waking up this morning and you're starting to build your business and you're starting to make phone calls or got meetings or whatever you got, when you sit down with those people, watch their posture and know where they are and see if they give you direct eye contact. If they give you direct eye contact, they're engaged in what you're trying to present to them. If they don't give you direct eye contact, they're not engaged in what you're trying to present to them, and you're wasting your time. Like I said, this is my tactic that I do. When I first talk to a person, I have an appointment with somebody, the first thing I do is I tell them right off the bat. I say, well, hey, John, you know, how are you doing today, sir? It's really pleased to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm so glad you took the time out of your busy schedule to meet with me or to talk with me or to chat with me. But I just let me ask you a few questions, if you don't mind. You know, what do you do for a living? You know, what is your family like? You know, what do you do for fun? You know, what are the things that's going on in your life right now that, you know, could be better than how they are right now? What are some of the things that you would like to be better in your life? And if you ask those questions to people, now you start to see where they're at. And the number one thing, now they start to know that you're more concerned about them than you are about making a paycheck. That's one of the number one thing that you got to do when you're in this business, you know, as an entrepreneur and a network marketer, and you're meeting with your prospects. You got to make it to where what can you say or what can you do that's going to benefit them? What are the words that can come out of your mouth that you can say that's going to help them and meet their needs to where they are? And then once they tell you, you say, okay, well, that's awesome. Well, okay, well, I appreciate you telling me. Let me tell you something about myself. And then you start to tell them about yourself. And then once you do that, now you say, well, I appreciate all the information. Now, I'm going to get into introducing this concept to you that, you said you wanted to check out. And all I ask of you is just look at it with an open mindset. Now, you have set the stage for the win. Because number one, within something that they have said, you know that you already have that within what you're about to present to them, and you can create value to their life. The way you win in anything that you're doing is find a way to create value to a person's life, and you win. And it doesn't matter. If you're an insurance salesman, look at this. You gotta prove to them that your policy can create more value to their life than the previous policy. If you're an entrepreneur, you got to prove to them that your concept that you're about to present to them is going to create more value to them in their life than what they actually have. You can meet their needs better than the way they're being met. And that's how you win. And then say, for instance, if you're working a 9 to 5, you got to prove to that employee that you can outwork everybody else on the job and you can put out as much production as possible. Or if you're working in law enforcement, you got to prove to law enforcement that you are a person that can control your temper at all times and abide by the rules and not do nothing that's going to damage a person and use no more force than is necessary to detain. You got to prove that. You got to show that. If you don't prove that, you don't show that, and then you allow someone that you pull over to get you in your feelings, now that's when bad things happen. So you got to always remember within your self-awareness, always don't never let nobody get you off of your feelings, get in your feelings, know their motive and know their desires. And if you know those things, then you'll be great at determining self-awareness from the people that surround you, and you'll also know your own self-awareness. But if you don't know that, then you're not going to be able to get to the next level in life. But like I said, once again, I thank each and every one of you all for stopping by my morning inspiration. I just want you to do one thing for me. Like, comment, and share on this video, because me, myself personally, I know and I believe that there's somebody out there in the world today that needs to hear this message on self-awareness, because they may not have been aware of their self-awareness, and they may not have been aware of other people's self-awareness, and they may not have knew other people's motives and desires. But I have given you a brief way of how you can understand other people's motives and desires if you just pay attention to the way they carry themselves. That's the number one thing. So, like I said, if you're going out the door to work, think about your self-awareness. If you're working from home, think about your self-awareness. Or whatever you're doing in life, always think about your self-awareness and know your self-awareness, and also know the self-awareness of other people that surround you, and you will go far in life. So like I said, once again, thank each and every one of you all for stopping by my morning inspiration this morning. I love each and every one of you all, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Within this morning inspiration, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't want to miss not one of them. If you miss one, you better catch the replay, because I got some powerful stuff that I'm bringing to you, and it's going to change your life, and it's going to give you the knowledge to where you'll be able to walk about your daily lifestyle with pride and hold your head up no matter what you're going through. So don't miss a morning inspiration. Tomorrow morning, I got one for you. I'm going to knock your socks off with the topic. I'm not going to tell you what it is, You just have to tune in to find out. So I love each and every one of you all. Thank you for stopping by my morning inspiration, and goodbye, and have a blessed day.